Adrien Harris was never confirmed dead, and it was one of the few times that me being pedantic and pig-headed actually paid off. We have a rule over at the official Teen Wolf Wiki that says no body means they're not dead. Never did that rule serve us better than in the curious case of Adrien Harris.
Please, don't do this. I did what you asked. I did everything.
So yeah, most people and those other wiki sites looked at that and said, oh, he dead.
And she's not only merely dead, she's really most sincerely dead.
But I am a stubborn son of a bitch when it comes to stating something categorically. That's why from the time that scene aired until 2014, we still had Adrien Harris listed in the present tense. And then I was only willing to go so far as to say he was presumed dead. And his page stayed that way right up until the movie. The fact is, without a body and seeing all the other illusory and interdimensional shenanigans on this show, you can never really say someone's dead unless you see them as a corpse. The only time we got tripped up declaring someone dead was with Kate. Now, according to this newspaper, multiple people saw and handled the body. So you had to really be paying attention to see the loophole they left in that case.
Calaveras heard that Kate had been killed by an alpha's claws. Her body was healing more and more as she got closer to the full moon. She was coming back. So they switched.
For Harris, the question remains, how did he survive? I think the simple answer is that Jennifer just screwed up again. It was pouring rain, and who likes to work in the rain? She either didn't tighten the loop enough or didn't quality check her work, or Adrien had some druid mojo of his own that we're not aware of that just faked her out. But again, we never saw a body. So Adrien Harris was never officially dead. So what does Deucalion gain from taking back the spark he shared? This came up again today, and while I've mentioned it in earlier videos, I haven't done a specific one addressing this idea. It also gives me a chance to rant a bit about how gross I think some of the implications of this kind of power theft could be. First things first, when an alpha werewolf bites or births someone, they share a little bit of their divine spark. The little spark is what turns people into werewolves. The way the Alpha Pack operated was they stole back that power they'd given to their betas, and it supposedly boosted their strength. I say supposedly because I believe the effects are temporary, just like drugs. And just like drugs, people swear it's awesome and everyone should do it. But this video isn't about that. It's not about straight power theft. The question I got today was, wouldn't he just get back whatever he put in? Basically, it would be a zero-sum situation if you stole from your own betas. Two things actually counter that. One, the divine alpha spark isn't diminished at all by sharing. It is a curse from the figurehead of an entire pantheon of gods. If you could just get rid of that curse by sharing it a bunch, that's not much of a curse. So the spark does not shrink when you share it. But the little spark starts to grow the second it hits the human soul inside whoever you shared it with. They showed us again and again how interaction with souls either increase or decrease the spark's effectiveness within the werewolf. And we know the spark gets more powerful due to that interaction because we saw Scott McCall literally grow his little spark into an alpha spark. So when someone like Deucalion comes along and then kills someone he bit 15 years ago, He's getting a spark with 15 years worth of growth. It's much more than that little bit he gave over in the first place. But it is a more powerful spark when it comes out of the beta than it was when it went in. That brings me to the rant portion of the video. This is based on something real. I try not to straw man y'all when I say things come from my comment section. They come from my comment section. Here are the receipts. People seem to think that the process of stealing power could be streamlined, and basically multiple new betas could be made and then harvested later for their additional spark. That is the most disgusting concept. Basically, you want Deucalion to set up a beta farm and then feed on actual people via serial killing. This is where the minds of some in this fandom go, which genuinely frightens me, because it means that we live in a world in which human life, even fictional or hypothetical human life, is considered worthless or simply transactional. You have probably seen this video before. I'm redoing it for a couple of reasons. The first time, I could not talk and had an AI voice, which was not perfect or even tolerable, if I'm being honest. But also, I've been getting some Mountain Ash questions since the movie, and I figured we could all do with a little refresher. Specifically, on how did Scott get through that one time, but was never able to do it again. A few things you need to actually believe before we go forward. A couple are canon things, and one is a speculation thing based on canon things. The speculation first. All werewolves have the same potential strength. Accessing more strength is about experience and mental state.
Just let me see it, okay?
That mental state will affect access to supernatural strength and healing is strictly canonical. They showed us that repeatedly. The third thing is the hardest for people to understand for some reason. Canonically, Scott did not cross the Mountain Ash because he became an alpha. He became an alpha because he crossed the Mountain Ash. With that in mind, let's head back to season 3 and that big scene with Scott.
You've tried this before, Scott. I don't remember you having much success.
Okay, ask yourself what is in Scott's head right now. It's just one thought: save his mom. He's also probably thinking about saving his friends and their parents too, but the overwhelming focus of his entire being is obviously to save his mother. He does not care about anything else. All he wants is to break this barrier and make Jennifer stop hurting his mom. Again, Scott is a beta for most of his trip through this barrier. Take a look at that again. Scott is still a beta, but his hand pushes past the edge and into the circle. Jennifer sees it too. Scott should not be able to do what he just did. Deaton says Scott reached alpha status through strength of character, virtue, and sheer force of will. This further supports that connection between a werewolf's mental state and their abilities. It's all connected. Some folks seem to think this was just some sudden burst of physical strength, but Scott's muscles and his fangs and his speed and his healing, none of that helped him break what should have been an unbreakable supernatural barrier. If it was simply the application of force, those barriers would always be useless. It wasn't physical strength. It was focused willpower. Scott's overwhelming desire to save his mother focused every aspect of his being into a single task. This is also why he could never do it again.
It's a barrier no supernatural creature should be able to cross.
Scott did it once, but it almost killed me.
People have either forgotten that Scott said that or just want to ignore that he has tried and failed to cross these barriers again and again. You cannot brute strength your way across a supernatural barrier.
What are they doing?
Testing for weaknesses.
Unless you're an Oni, but that's another story. Scott could have never pushed through the barrier if all he had was brute strength. And he could not do it again because he never again reached this level of laser focus. Wolfpack is a big enough hit for Paramount Plus to renew it for a season 2. It draws a decent, if not spectacular, number of viewers from among the nearly 80 million subscribers to the service, and it includes a prestige production team in Jeff Davis and Sarah Michelle Gellar. But the main reason Paramount Plus is likely to renew Wolfpack is that they own the intellectual property, and it's a lot cheaper for them to exploit something they own outright. So, why the holdup in a season 2 pickup announcement? The leading theory is the ongoing labor relations between the Producers Guild and the Writers Guild. The current contract detailing how much television writers get paid for their work expires on May 1st. If the writers get everything they want in these negotiations, the cost of making shows like Wolfpack will be more expensive. If they don't get what they want, they could go on strike, and that would shut down production across the industry. With the current uncertainty, renewing Wolfpack would not be a responsible decision for Paramount Plus as a corporation. They cannot accurately predict the cost of producing a new season, and the possibility of a writer's strike could lead to sudden production halts, which would make the whole process even more expensive.
It's the hottest new product to hit the toy industry in years, and they're priced right for fast turn and big profit.
I can't remember my name.
Part human, part wolf. A werewolf.
This message is for my kids, Harlan and Luna.
This might be a good time to tell them. Especially since I've got my own box of silver bullets.
Our eyes. When we were together for the first time in the woods, our eyes were glowing.
Are you trying to ask us if we think they're gonna turn into actual werewolves?
Maybe we could lure Baron somewhere and catch him. Then we have to figure out how to turn him back to human.
It was just a stupid animal. It doesn't know what motel I'm staying.
Nice to meet you. Shake.
No. It's just a possum, okay? Stop trying to scare the shit out of everyone.
Is the possum going to kill us?
I'm not a drug dealer. More of a facilitator.
You can't not label yourself. It's impossible. Saying you don't label yourself, still labeling yourself.
So I take Phoebe. I didn't see a killer, but it was dragging her body.
It's always a good sign if I'm thinking about a show or movie many days after seeing it. I'm still thinking about aspects of the Wolfpack endgame, and one that keeps hitting me hard is how this amazing pack connection that they'd had from the very start was broken when Baron was frozen, and then even further damaged after he was stabbed and poisoned with silver. I need to do a whole thing on the incredible mental link that all these creatures share, but that's a much longer video. And I actually think the pack connection and the mental link are two different phenomena. The latter allows for power sharing and the type of mental telepathy we saw. The former, what I'm calling the connection, overwhelms the individual mind completely and makes them act as one unit. We all recognize the connection. It started that first night when a howl brought everyone up to the ridge. They were all compelled to run and meet up at the same spot. The same thing happened at the parking garage when Blake howled. They have no memory of getting there because they were all acting as one unit. The connection is best expressed in this scene with Harlan and Ranger Briggs. They are completely overwhelmed. Blake actually puts it best.
I wanted to kill your dad, like and rip his throat out. That's in your head, not mine.
This collective connection ends in this moment. They're all experiencing Baron's slowing heart rate and his ultimate death in the freezer. I put quotes around death because we know what happens. At this moment, their bond is severed. They don't all feel it when Baron is stabbed. And even his semi-consciousness doesn't reestablish that strong connection. This is what I think the mysterious caller means by breaking the bond. Again, there's a lot more going on with the mental link and the power sharing and the remote viewing and the memory sharing, but the hive mind, or pack mind for lack of a better term, is a really interesting aspect, and I can only hope we get to explore it further. You can do your part to ensure a season 2 of Wolfpack. Keep talking about the show on socials and keep streaming it at Paramount Plus.